Just like to move that, and seconded by Councillor Coker. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's carried. I've received no declarations of interest, so now we'll move on to the public forums. So we begin with the Student Volunteer Army, and I'd like to welcome Catherine to talk about their programs. Welcome, Catherine. Is your microphone on? When it's green, push the button. When it's green, it's on. Is it? Yeah, there we go.
That. Perfect. Okay. Right, so tēnā koutou katoa, thank you so much for having me here today. I have travelled to Otorotahi, Christchurch today just to speak to you about Student Volunteer Army, the foundation, where we are today and how we've grown since our inception, obviously here in Christchurch during the 2010 and 2011 earthquakes. So my role at Student Volunteer Army is Head of Programs. As many of you will know, Student Volunteer Army was born out of crisis. We originated here in Christchurch and have grown from the student-led response from the University of Canterbury students to the 2010 and 2011 earthquakes. Over the course of those events, the students at UC mobilised a group of 13,000 plus volunteers to clean up collectively over 260,000 tonnes of silt from Christchurch streets, volunteering around 75,000 hours worth of time. From that, SVA has turned into a movement that is all about empowering young people to volunteer and be active members of their communities. Today, we're a network of tens of thousands of students, volunteers, driven by a desire to be active community members. We have programs at primary, secondary and tertiary level, and they empower youth through volunteering, cultivating a lasting culture of service and building resilient, connected communities. We want students to be able to step up and respond in times of crisis. So our programs, as mentioned, are at primary, secondary and university level. The first program on here, SVA Primary, is a kit used to build soft skills among primary school age students. They develop skills around project management and end up leading their own volunteering event for a cause that's relevant to their community. Then we move into the SVA Service Award, which is our national framework for recognising student volunteers. Focused mainly in secondary schools, students use the SVA app to log hours of volunteering, and when they reach set levels of hours logged, they earn badges. What this also does is allows them to build a summary of their service. Something we talk about quite often with young people is that it can be really difficult to build skills and experience without having a job, but it's tricky to get a job if you don't have any experience. So the summary of service allows students to showcase the skills that they've built through volunteering while also demonstrating a commitment to their community. The final program within the SVA Foundation is SVA clubs. So these are the university clubs which are headed by student executive committees. They lead regular volunteering events throughout the year and are the key group that we mobilise in times of crisis to be able to provide responses. UC is our biggest club. It generally tends to have between 2,500 and 3,000 members per year and is headed by a really strong student executive committee. If you have a quick look at our program stats, you can see the widespread and the impact of them. So the primary school kit has engaged over 3,150 classrooms over the 5 years that it was running, which is over 100,000 students. Our Service Award is our largest program by far. We have over 258 secondary schools who are actively taking part in the program. Over 20,000 active volunteers, so that's students who have logged an hour this year within our database. Over 550,000 hours of volunteering have been logged in 2024 by students across Aotearoa, and 109,000 of those are logged by students within the Canterbury region. We've recently also hit the milestone of 2 million hours logged over the last 5 years, so the program is growing and growing, and we have this beautiful cohort of young people who are actively engaged and want to help. With the clubs, we have 7 clubs across the country. They have taken part in 40 events over this year, which is over 4,500 hours volunteered. And if we're looking at that against minimum wage to see what that financial contribution is, it's over $108,000. And in the last 20 seconds, I'm quickly going to talk about crisis response. So SVA shows up time and time again to provide crisis response to communities who go through disaster. Over the past few years, this has looked like showing up to the Auckland flooding, to Cyclone Gabrielle, the COVID-19 grocery response. Every time something happens, we want to support. What we would really love is to start up a conversation with the Christchurch City Council around how SVA can be brought into your emergency management structure. That's my time, so thank you very much. Sorry, it was a bit slow at the beginning, but yeah, we would really love to engage with you. We have a memorandum of understanding with Nelson City Council, and we have a partnership with the Red Cross, so looking to build on those connections and put in some more relationships with councils is what we would really love to do. Thank you very much for your time.
Hey, look, Catherine, thank you so much. What a great presentation, and I think you need to be congratulated for collecting the data as you have, because data is evidence, and it's strong evidence of the success of your program and the way you've reached out into the schools and you're training those young children coming through. But what you're also doing, you've got disaster preparedness as well. So I'd really strongly support your suggestion that you engage with the council and our preparedness program there. So I'll leave that with the chief executive to make contact and try and organise a meeting and start from there. Perfect. Because you're well equipped, and with all those volunteers and the knowledge that you have, it's fantastic. So, congratulations on the success of your program, your work, and the engagement and getting young people involved. It's really, really important and really super helpful. Thank you very much for coming in. That's fantastic. And so, to follow that, we have Speed Freaks Charitable Trust. So we've got Anna speaking, and I think Kevin is coming to the table as well. Welcome. Good morning.
Morena, thank you. Oh, a scary timer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Anna Christoforou. I'm the founder of the Speed Freaks Charitable Trust, and I'm just going to take you through a journey of who we are, what we do, and our community impact here in Otatahi. So the Speed Freaks have been running and walking for recovery from addiction and mental distress since 2021, when I founded the charity. Our genesis story begins here in Otatahi in 2017, with our first group held at Odyssey House, where I was 2IC. I'm a clinical social worker by trade, and I left my secure employment job in 2020 with a 20k bank loan to do up my bathroom, which is yet to be done, and started the Speed Freaks Charitable Trust. We are a very small charity we're not anymore actually. We grew very quickly. We now operate nationally, and this year we received international recognition for our work. So I was asked to present to the Global Leadership Exchange in the Netherlands, representing Aotearoa New Zealand, and that was really awesome to be acknowledged in that way for such a young charity. We also partner with Parkrun NZ, which Parkrun is a global organisation that holds runs every Saturday all over the world. And we've been sponsored by a Swiss running brand, On Running. So that was a real win for us this year. And we just heard that we've been announced as semi-finalists for Community of the Year with KiwiBank. Ooh. So we're super pleased on that. So that's been quite a big year for us. This is a thank you to Council, to Pauline Cotter for having us here today, but also for their support, for your support. We currently are accommodated in Richmond Cottage. We've just very much outgrown that. And this is Napunawai, Guinness World Record with Emma Timmis. We were the nominated charity. And you'll see that our Speed Freaks Blue was all over Napunawai for a whole entire week.
Even the ice creams.
Our stats show our growth. So from 2021, these are our attendance, number of attendances at sessions, 820 through to this last year, 3,347, and that's just for Christchurch. I thought about how we impact really our community here, and why I left my job was that there was clearly an issue with, we do treatment really well, we do probation really well, we do support and medical care really well, but there is a disconnect between leaving the provider and entering the community. A disconnect for the individual and also a disconnect for the community. So communities weren't prepared to receive people and individuals weren't prepared to return to their community. So we're working with highly vulnerable adults and therefore highly vulnerable families, people that feel that they have a lack of personal agency, that they're isolated from their community, and that they're not in a position to give back to the community. What we've found by our model is that we've mobilised the community to share the problem. So our programme is delivered by volunteers. We invite our community to be part of someone's recovery journey. We foster human connectedness. And we also lean into the concept of a recovery city, which is a public health and whole city model, which we really love because we've found that it's the community that's got the solution. This is a really good example of that. So we did not foresee how much the Speed Freaks was going to develop tendrils into different areas. And one is that we have rangatahi joining us, and we have whole families that identify as Speed Freaks and very loudly and proudly do so. So this is Harley and Jordan. I'm going to really speed up my speaking now. Harley joined us with our original Genesis group. He's done 9 half marathons. I've run all of those with him, for better or for worse. He joined us through a residential provider and continued through our community programmes. He's a peer volunteer for us, and he is employed by a local employer who has a whole entire Speed Freaks team. 2021, his partner Jordan joined our Wahine group. And this year she celebrated 2 years of sobriety at the Crater Rim. She completed a level 4 health and wellbeing placement with us. We now employ Jordan as a peer support worker. Sissy and Dayton, 2 lovely rangatahi of Harley's, have earned their T-shirt, and in its entirety, it's a family affair. For 2025 for us, that's our community group there in Hagley Park. We are fortunate to have some funding from Te Whatu Ora, but we really need sustainable funding and we really need premises. We've so outgrown Richmond Cottage, and we also need to move to tech. We currently use all forms of social media, Hey Your apps, whatever we can to keep everything moving, and we'd like to develop that locally. That's us. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's bang on time for public forum.
Just.
Hey, look, congratulations on the incredible work you're doing, and seeing how those numbers have increased over the 3 years is phenomenal. So well done. Thank you very much. And I think if we all put our thinking caps on, we'll try and come up with some assistance for a venue if we can somewhere.
That would be awesome.
That's bigger than Richmond Cottage.
Yes.
Is there any geographical area that you prefer?
Well, what we've been looking for, to be honest, is a venue that would accommodate a small gym, some space for group work sessions, because our model weaves community and we've got so many options to develop social skills, recovery capital and agency.
Yeah.
So we're looking for probably Sydenham towards the city centre, easy access, somewhere like that.
Great.
Roller door.
Yeah.
A few offices to the side, that kind of thing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Nice to see you. And
Thank you.
Can we take a note of that? See if there's anything around. Right, now, that's the end of our public forum, so we're now moving on to deputations by appointment. First of all, we have Diane Downward from Concerned Ratepayers. Welcome, Diane.
Hello. This issue of Chooch Corner is a long time coming, but better to get it right. The results from this consultation process indicate that 42% of respondents chose option A, which is closing the right turn lane, and the remaining 58% don't want the right-hand turn lane to be removed, but were divided in which way to go, including 9% wanting no change at all. So no one was excited about any of the designs, and many only liked option A because it was the cheapest. In this short 2-week consultation, we were only given 2 more overly complicated, overly expensive designs to consider that made the original, twice rejected design look good in comparison. A design that looks good compared to 2 bad designs doesn't make it a good design. Councillor Mark Peters drew up a simple design that was also cost-effective that ticked all the boxes when this topic was still at the community board stage and asked staff to include his design so that it could be discussed as an option. But this never happened. Why was his design never considered by staff to be an option to be discussed and voted upon? This is wrong. I didn't like part of his design because it had a raised platform for the pedestrian crossing, but his design is the best I've seen so far, and most have never seen it. All possible options have not been put on the table to be considered and voted on. Also, the elephant in the room is, why is Yaldhurst Road prioritized in all these designs when the main South Road is to be the main travel corridor in the future? Shouldn't all designs be made with this in mind, so we're not making these changes and then undoing them in a few years, wasting money and resources in the process? Maybe Yaldhurst Road should be closed off and traffic redirected onto Main South Road instead of the other way around, as Main South Road is to be this main corridor, and we have to start training people to do that. Any design should be made with the future in mind so that there is a step-by-step cohesive design process and not a haphazard one. So the whole design process has not been thought through, in my opinion. There are many submissions from cyclists, and I agree that this is a dangerous intersection for cyclists, and that is why we have built multi-million-dollar cycleways for cyclists to use, which is a good thing for their safety. But cyclists still insist on using the intersection that they know is unsafe, when other options are available, including cycleways. This is true in other parts of the city, like Cranford Street, where 1 minute away there is a underutilized cycleway through parks that connects up with Cranford Street later on, but cyclists still want to use the congested part of Cranford Street, which is designed to be the main thoroughfare for those commuting from the north along the freeway into the city. But since that community board is dominated by those who have put more importance onto the view of cyclists than the majority who gave deputations for Cranford Street to return to being a clearway, they voted to keep it the bus lane, cycle lane. So cyclists have safe options, and it's their choice to use the road. We already have a safe way for pedestrians to cross Rickerton Road at the signaled crossing, but many choose to use the refuge in the middle of the road, even when it's busy and not so safe to cross at that time. But is their choice? Do we want to be dictators and make them go a certain way, or what, Anyway, I suggest that until a design that considers the future importance of Main South Road is drawn up and agreed upon, a few simple, inexpensive measures should be taken to allow the flow of traffic and to make it safer. First, remove the dangerous cement forms in front of Countdown. Nobody likes them. Second is to block the traffic leaving the Countdown car park on Rickerton Road from being able to turn directly onto Yaldhurst Road. These cars can use the other exit. Cars wanting to make the right-hand turn from Main South Road will then not be surprised by the sudden appearance of these cars leaving the car park and will give the drivers much greater certainty of the traffic coming their way. Synchronize the traffic lights. They're still not synchronized. Rumble strips, not speed bumps, can be added to the approach to the intersection from all directions, alerting drivers to be cautious. Road markings near Hanson's Lane can make drivers align, like the left-hand lane is for Main South Road only and right-hand lane is for Yaldhurst Road only, so there's no switching lanes at the last minute. We need cost-effective measures and solutions which will only be there for a few years. As I said, the Main South Road is to be the major corridor, and when we have this influx of all these people coming from who knows where, we need to keep that in mind and start training the drivers away from Yaldhurst. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much. Perfect timing. Thanks for coming in, Diane. I'd like to welcome Mike Mora and Cheryl, who will speak to us on the same item and representing the Greater Hornby Residents Association. Welcome, Mike. Nice to see you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome,
nice
Cheryl.
to be here.
Yeah.
Morning.
And thanks for allowing us the opportunity to present here today as well to your staff. So, as you know, this has been around, it's been through the community board. They haven't been able to make decisions. It's a bit of a nightmare. But anyway, hopefully, after today, that we will be able to do it once and do it right. And as Diane said, the Main South Road into Rickerton Road has historically been the way into Christchurch for well over 100 years. And in my lifetime, I can remember Blenheim Road didn't exist. So what we've got to do is to keep that road open for major, public transport systems, all of that sort of stuff. It's just got to be. It has to be open. You can't have the main South Road all of a sudden closed off. Kaboom, that's it. You're not allowed to go. You've got to use Blenheim Road, or you've got to go here, or you've got to go there. It does not make a lot of sense. We are very lucky to have Blenheim Road, as it used to be from the Canterbury sale yards to the Christchurch City Abattoir. It was a stock route years ago. And, in my lifetime, it turned into, a 4-lane highway. And it's just, that's taken a hell of a lot of pressure off, but we must keep this intersection open. Keep the right turn open, and I'm really pleased to have the options put before us today to consider. Certainly not in favour of option A, but definitely we're very happy with option B, or something near around about that. But with option B, we'd still like to see a fence down the middle so that people can't just go wandering across from Countdown across the road. So that's what we want. And just do it once and do it right. And I understand, with the lights going in there, it's going to cut down the accident risk altogether, virtually. It is, with the lights going in there, it's going to cut that right down. So we just need to make sure that happens. Cheryl?
Yeah, I'm with that, but I agree. We need to actually see Mark Peters' option as well, because I've only just learnt about that one. So we would like to be able to see that option as well going forward. And the berms or what you call in front of Woolworths, they definitely have to go. It's just too dangerous,
yeah.
And I would get catch the bus there all the time, and I just see so many near collisions. It's not funny. That's for me today. Thank you. Any questions?
That's the other thing too is take those blips out, because I know they haven't been in there long, but they have been people. But the budget for these options is not that hell of a far apart when you look at them. And it's with the changes coming in, it's definitely going to make people think, oh, this is different. Oh, this is great now. And they know that when they come up to that intersection from Yaldhurst Road, Main South Road, or Riccarton Road into or out of, they're going to know that there is going to be movements, and the accident rate's going to drop completely, as far as I can see. It's going to, of course, you can't take you can't cater for the idiot drivers. But anyway, that's where we're coming from. And please do it once and do it right. The public consultation, as Diane said, is people want that retained. So let's give the people what they want, retain it, and do it once and do it right. And I'm sure people will look back on this in years to come and think, thank goodness we've got it to this stage here today, where there'll be a sensible decision made.
All right, Mike, time for one question from Councillor Scandrett. 23
Thank you.
seconds.
Mike, option C seems to have the least disadvantages. Your thoughts on that? Because it's very similar to the other one. But
Well, stage we've in consultation with others from who I'm here to represent today, we've decided at this stage that option B is the best one. But I agree with you. I've been looked at that as well. So option C is okay. But over 50% of people didn't want to close the right-hand turn, and it keeps it open and it makes it safe for all. So that's
Okay.
what I'm saying is we want option B, but we're a little bit ambidextrous on option B and C.
Okay, that's very clear. Thank you very much
Yep.
for coming in. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very
That's
much for the
helpful.
opportunity, and I'm sorry I won't be able to be here for the debate on this, but I'll certainly be looking at it. So
All right, we'll keep that in mind.
you can think that you've got Mike's eyes on you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So remember that, everybody. So we'll now welcome Luke Chandler by Zoom on the same
Can you
item.
hear me?
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Thank you. Ready to go.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on this important matter today, team. Of the 584 individuals and 11 organisations who submitted on this, 42% supported option A, 37% preferred option C, and 12% preferred option B. And additionally, 9% did not select a preference or did not want any changes. When reviewing these preferences, it's critical to note that nearly half of the submitters, 49% supported an option that did not close the right-hand turn out of Main South Road. And a number of individuals who opted for option A, including one or two organisations, indicated that they'd be satisfied with option C, suggesting a degree of consensus within the community about retaining this feature. It's also important to note that a large number of people within the ward itself, the Rickett and Hornby Horsville Community Board area, supported option C. And yeah, so my other point is, if you're inclined to opt for option A today, I urge you to do so only after ensuring the necessary improvements are made to Goldhurst, Pear Street and Curlitz Road. While this is an NZTA intersection, safety improvements need to be made here, as this is a significantly higher crash risk area than the intersection we're closing. Staff have previously told councillors, including Councillor Kewen, that I was wrong in saying that it ranked at 163 on the list of where it ranked in terms of its danger. That's because council staff have been using a different ranking for assessing its danger risk. I also support Environment Canterbury's concern about removing access onto Riccarton Road eastbound from Main South Road. This route is a vital alternative for emergency detours of several frequent metro public transport services. Without it, maintenance or road closures on Goldhurst or Curlitz Road would leave public transport without a reliable detour, risking unnecessary disruptions. I also further echo their concerns that the proposed the changes rather outside the Woolworths have caused some issues, and additional traffic signals could impede the efficient flow of buses along Riccarton Road. This outcome would contradict the city's goals of promoting a sustainable and efficient transportation system. In conclusion, I urge you to carefully consider the significant implications of the proposal on both community preferences and public transport operations. Retaining key access points and alternative routes is essential to maintaining a resilient and effective transport network that serves all the needs of our residents and also our visitors. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That was succinct. Are there any questions?
Nice
for
and
Luke?
quick.
Yes, thank you. Any questions for Luke? Does not appear to be any questions. That was, oh, hang on, we do have one. Don't go, Luke. Councillor Scandrett.
Hi, Luke. Your thoughts on option C?
I personally opted for option C, and that is because it had the most amount of benefits and least amount of disadvantages. And also I would note that just under half of people opted to retain the right turn out, and option C obviously came second after option A, and a little bit hard when you're splitting the vote between two options that want to keep it open and one option that wants to close it. But yes, I would have supported option C. That is the one that I submitted on.
Thank you very much, Luke. Cheers.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Luke. Well done. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to move on to invite Anne Scott from Spokes to speak on the same item. Morning, Anne. Just push your mic up. Yeah.
Kia ora koutou, ko Anne Scott Tokawingwa. I'm here to speak on behalf of Spokes Canterbury on Church Corner. Church Corner is an interesting area because it's really got a lot of cyclists and pedestrians and and others who are trying to cross the road at the same time, as a lot of traffic. 58.6% of the submitters perceive the Church Corner as unsafe or very unsafe. And the complexity is due to the weaving of the vehicles combined with more vulnerable users, which makes the area... Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Which makes the area unsafe. And you can see when I took these pictures, there had been yet another crash turning right on this road. So I had it's a bit hard to see, but I actually spent an hour at Church Corner surveying who was using it, where they were going, both pedestrians and cyclists. And there's a lot of movements there at this particular time, which is the busiest time for traffic as well. And you can see that actually there's a real need for a really safe crossing here because a lot of people are taking a lot of risks. So option A is the best option. It provides a safe crossing for pedestrians and cyclists. It simplifies the movement by removing the right-hand turn, so there'll be a lot less accidents. It provides traffic lights that only work when triggered, so that there is a good flow of traffic along the Yolthurst Road, which will reduce congestion and speed up the buses. And it includes cycle lanes through the various intersections on both sides, making the crossing at Woolworths safer. I didn't actually put anything in my presentation about option B because it's actually the really worst option there is, and so I didn't think anyone would support it. Essentially what it does is it makes people go through a zigzag, which means that anyone using a push chair or on a cargo bike or anything else has got a real problem getting through it. The zigzag is difficult for cyclists. If you put fences along there, you're fencing off the locals from the places they want to go. Someone said that you could use cycle lanes that are further away, but you actually can't get, if you live in this area, to the cycle lane in a safe way. And you want to shop. I mean, I shop in this area. You know, I go to restaurants, I go to the Countdown, whatever it's called now, to get to the cycleway or get to the schools. And there are a lot of school children using it. When you see those numbers up there, 2/3 of those numbers are school children at 8-10, and they need to be safe, and they're not at the moment. So Spoke strongly supports option A. We also just really appreciate the shared path to Brake Street, which will make a safer route to Villa Maria, and we do not understand the need to remove part of the cycle lane westbound. So if anyone's got any questions.
We do have time. Councillor Scandrett.
Again, option C, your thoughts?
Option A is the best. Option B should not even be considered.
Yep.
Option C is there, and it does provide some benefit because it's still got the way of the crossing the roads, and it will still provide some pulsing for the crossing at Woolworths.
Yep.
But when you think about that, you think about in the future. Someone was saying that the main south road will be the way in, but that's the way for the new bus rapid transport or mass rapid transport, and so we shouldn't be getting drivers to get used to using that road because we actually need that space later on to actually get efficient public transport through to Hornby and various other places.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Excellent. Oh, Councillor Johansson.
Thank you, and thank you for the work you've done into your submission. I'm not sure if you've seen ECAN's submission and seen the other submissions from some of the local schools, but the majority of the local schools and ECAN both strongly supported option C for public transport and safety issues. How does that change your mind in terms of option A? I mean, they were certainly ECAN was very much against option A because of the public transport impact.
So I think ECAN, I still think that it's better to keep that for buses later on for or mass rapid transport. Spokes strongly supports option A. So I did see what the schools and the ECAM was suggesting, but option A was the preferred from our members by a large margin.
Okay, thank you, Anne. We're out of time. So thank you very much once again for coming in and giving us your time.
Thank you.
So I'd now like to welcome Liz Orr from St Peter's Anglican Preschool on the same item.
Kia ora koutou. My name is Liz Orr and I have the privilege of being the head teacher of St Peter's Anglican Preschool at Church Corner. We sit in the middle of the triangle between Curlitz Road, Main South Road and Yoldhurst Road. So this corner is very well known to us. I just want to make some general comments before I talk about the impact for our preschool. I'm grateful for the time the council has taken to investigate this option and put it out for public consultation. However, I felt that only 2 weeks for consultation this time was a pretty quick turnaround, particularly at this time of the year when other things are ramping up towards the end of the year and with Christmas coming. I also, in terms of the feedback, I would have really liked to have seen all the options. I know that there was some options presented for the community board and there was some options from here. I'm very curious about Councillor Peters' option because he is someone that's very familiar with that area, and I kind of feel that what we've been presented with is not necessarily all the options that are available, potential options that are available for this corner. I look closely at the 3 options, and for us, I personally voted for option C because I see that as a good compromise for everybody. And I think there wasn't much different, from memory, there wasn't much difference in cost between option B and option C. In terms of our preschool, as I've stated here before, we are a Christian multicultural preschool. Most of our families, I think currently 37 out of 41 families, are recent immigrants to our city. And also some of our staff. We have staff who've recently moved into the city. So we're passionate about supporting children, families and staff into integrating into New Zealand and Christchurch society. We want them to long-term feel comfortable here and become New Zealanders without losing their own culture. Since the earthquake, our city has become a lot more multicultural, and at our preschool we want to do everything we can to welcome them. And so one of those is helping them, support them, get their families, their children to and from preschool, which is an issue. So one of the things we do, as I've mentioned before, is we run a van service that goes to people's homes and picks up children and brings them to preschool and or delivers them home at the end of the day. We have multiple van runs through the day, and so the van is on the road. At one stage it was on the road for 30 hours a week, so that's quite a significant amount of time supporting our families, because in a lot of cultures, in some cultures that our children come from, the mums don't drive the families, the dad's out at work, and so we can support that by providing the van service. And so to be able to do that, we need to have access around the city. So certainly keeping the right-hand turn open at Church Corner would help that, because we go in all directions away from preschool around the city. So when I looked at the options, I looked at option A, B and C. I like the idea, as the first speaker said, about synchronised traffic lights through there and keeping an option keeping the traffic moving, foot traffic as in foot traffic, bike traffic, bus traffic, car traffic, scooter traffic, every type of traffic there is. That I like to look at it holistically and think, what is the best for everybody, that big picture, rather than just one type of user. And I think that option C provides the best compromise for everybody, that improves safety, which is a concern at this corner, and also keeps the traffic moving, particularly when Main South Road is going to be long-term a main arterial. So that was kind of all I had to say on this at this stage. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for coming in. And we know the children are important. Are there any questions? We've got time for a quick question. Anybody? Thank you very much. Well, that brings us to the end of our deputations. We have no petitions today. So now I'd like to get a mover and